All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are taking a massive leap back in time, roughly 100,000 years actually, to decode the evolutionary roots of human attraction. We're going to uncover the primal language our ancient ancestors used to find love, long before the modern world as we know it ever even existed. So, let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this by totally stripping away all the modern romantic conveniences we rely on today. Just try to imagine living in a world with absolutely no dating apps to swipe through, no text messages to carefully overthink and draft, and definitely no smooth pickup lines. I mean, you couldn't even run down to the corner shop to buy a bouquet of flowers. So without any of these modern tools, how exactly did ancient humans show they were into someone?
It's kind of a crazy mystery to think about, right? Did they just smile at each other across the fire? Did they share their food? Or did prehistoric romance look completely alien compared to what we do today? Now, obviously, the big challenge here is that nobody left behind a dating manual from the Stone Age. There are zero written records, but that doesn't mean we're entirely in the dark. By looking at modern hunter-gatherer societies, digging into the archaeology, and really studying human evolution, scientists have actually pieced together some absolutely fascinating clues about how our earliest ancestors flirted.
Which brings us to Section 1, Survival as Attraction, or as I like to call it, the confidence flex.
So, to really understand ancient attraction, we have to look at it through a strict evolutionary lens. Choosing the wrong partner back then wasn't just a bad date, it had immediate, dire consequences. It could literally mean having less food, weaker protection from predators, or struggling to raise healthy kids. So picture this. A young hunter strolls back into camp carrying fresh meat. Believe me, everyone notices. Or maybe someone expertly naps incredibly sharp stone tools, builds a really sturdy shelter, starts fires quickly, or gathers crucial medicinal plants. Today, we might just view these as basic survival chores, but anthropologists call this mate provisioning. Back in the day, being great at these things was the prehistoric equivalent of pulling up in a flashy sports car. Displaying these skills proved you're highly capable, knowledgeable, and fiercely reliable.
So, the crucial point is that ancient flirting was rarely about walking up to someone and just saying, "Hey, I like you." Instead, it was this ongoing, physical demonstration that essentially screamed, "You can count on me." These useful skills were incredibly attractive precisely because they drastically increased the odds of survival. Proving your reliability was literally the bedrock of prehistoric romance.
But of course, we weren't just purely survival machines. Let's move on to Section 2, Laughter, Music, and Dance, the social spark.
You know, humans have probably been laughing together around the fire for hundreds of thousands of years. Having a good sense of humor isn't just some modern preference for a dating profile. It's actually an ancient survival tactic. From an evolutionary standpoint, humor does three really critical things. 1, it reduces tension in what was a highly stressful, dangerous world. 2, it creates deep social bonds. And 3, it builds the trust required to function as a unified tribe. Making someone laugh wasn't just about goofing off. It was a vital way of signaling intelligence and testing if you were compatible with someone.
And you know, that social spark went way beyond just telling jokes. Archaeologists have actually dug up ancient flutes that date back tens of thousands of years. Just picture it. The sun goes down, the campfire is roaring, and the whole group is singing, clapping, and celebrating together. A confident dancer, a really talented singer, or someone who could just captivate the group with an amazing story, they naturally became the center of attention. Creativity has literally always been a magnet for human connection.
Now, let's slow things down a bit and shift gears to Section 3, Everyday Acts of Kindness, the Power of Altruism.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really beautiful contrast. When we think of romance today, we usually picture these grand, dramatic gestures, right? Expensive gifts, fancy dinners, the whole shebang. But in prehistory, the ultimate proof that you were long-term partnership material was actually found in the quiet, everyday moments. Showing true interest meant sharing your hard-earned food, watching someone else's kids so they could finally get some rest, gathering firewood, or gently tending to an injured group member. These actions required real personal sacrifice. They clearly demonstrated a person's deep generosity and steadfast reliability.
In fact, anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer communities today repeatedly find that cooperation is one of the absolute most valued traits in a mate. And if that holds true for our prehistoric ancestors, well, it means that simple, everyday kindness wasn't just a nice-to-have character trait, it was very likely humanity's oldest and, frankly, most successful flirting strategy.
All right, let's pick the energy back up and ask, did ancient humans actually care about looking good? Welcome to Section 4, Stone Age Fashion, or
prehistoric peacocking.
If you thought spending 2 hours getting ready for a date was a modern invention, archaeology tells a totally different story. Humans were eagerly decorating their bodies long before the very first cities were ever even a thought. We've unearthed evidence of intricately strung beads, jewelry crafted from animal teeth, vibrant, colorful feathers, and skin painted with rich red ochre pigment. Evolutionary biologists call this costly signaling. It basically means spending precious energy and resources just to stand out visually, and it is deeply embedded in our DNA.
These carefully crafted ornaments served a massive purpose. They were a crucial way to express your individual identity, signal your status within the tribe, and visually announce your group membership. But beyond all the social stuff, painting your body or rocking a striking animal tooth necklace was undeniably an ancient way of catching a potential mate's eye. The drive to make ourselves visually attractive is just so much older than we often imagine.
Which brings us to our final takeaway in Section 5, the timeless laws of attraction, the unchanging human heart.
When we step back and look at all of this evidence together, from the hardcore survival skills to the ancient flutes, right down to the red ochre, a surprisingly clear and unified picture emerges about who we are as a species. Even without written records, it's incredibly clear that our ancestors impressed each other with tangible actions, not clever messages. The entire foundation of early human attraction was built on exactly what you physically brought to the table. It was about sharing your resources, showing your competence, and proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you could be trusted when things got tough.
And when you distill all of that down, just consider the core traits that remain: kindness, confidence, humor, generosity. We've traded stone tools for smartphones and animal hide for modern fashion, right? Our society has completely transformed over the last 100,000 years. But the traits we admire, the things that truly make us fall for someone, they are exactly the same traits our ancestors admired thousands of generations ago.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to consider. The technology we use to find each other has completely changed, but have our hearts? When you strip away the screens, the apps, and all the conveniences of today, what primal language of attraction are you speaking in your own life? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.